This is absolutely brilliant from the Montreal Canadiens, and after the Patrik Laine trade, it just reveals a specific aspect that Montreal is doing that no other team in the league is doing that is setting them up better for the future than anyone in the NHL. We're going to dive into exactly what they're doing that's so smart. Plus, we have another slightly unfortunate Slafkovsky update. Don't want to double down on the negativity, but on the positive side, Elite Prospects released their top 100 list of affiliated prospects, and well, to put it lightly, Montreal is heavily featured, so we're going to be getting into all that coming up on this episode of Habs Digest, and we're going to start with Elite Prospects, Jesse, and it's almost surreal. And the reason I use this word is because it feels like we have never had this many people on this list. I don't know well, probably since these lists have existed, Montreal's probably never been so heavily featured. You know, especially since, 2000, since this modern era. There were lists and stuff before, but a prospect pool this insane? Let's just take a look at what Elite Prospects had. This is the NHL-affiliated skaters ranking 50 to 1. And we got a 100 to 51 as well coming up in a second. You can feel free to pause and take a look. But Jesse, Demidov at number 3, just behind Matvei Michkov, and those guys are going to be linked at the hip for their whole careers, I'm sure. And then Reinbacher at 13, and Laine Hutson at a somewhat low 27, though I suppose you could argue for or against that. I'm a bit surprised Cole Yzerman is so high, but it is what it is. And to clue this up, we're also heavily featured in that bottom 50. At 52, we got Michael Hage at 72, Owen Beck at 76, and Logan Mailloux down at 95. You could even argue he's higher. Jesse, how unreal is it to see Montreal? I think they're the second most featured team, if not third. Still absolutely crazy to see that finally, people are just saying, yeah, not only do they have an incredible core on the team, they have arguably the best set of prospects, not even in the NHL yet.
Absolutely. And to have 7% of the best prospects coming into the league out of 32 teams, pretty dang good, right? And we're seeing Demidov at number 3. He should be at number 2, but it's okay, right? We know that conversation is going to go on between Matvei Michkov and Demidov. Who's better? We want to hear about it in the comments. But I think, Josh, the real question going into the future is who's going to be better between Celebrini and Demidov? Yes, I absolutely think that this is going to be an ongoing kind of debate that's going in the future. The jury's still out on that one. So we're going to see how this plays. Obviously, Reinbacher listing very well on this. Hutson, you'd like to see him a little bit higher up for sure. This is a safe projection, but we just know one thing about Lane Boy, and that's he's going to just smash any expectation that you put on him. So fully expect to see him rising up. Joshua, wasn't even on this list last year, right? Climbing up very significantly this year. I'm a little bit surprised to not see Mailloux more in the Joshua Watt type of area, even conservatively speaking. That being said, with Hage, with Beck, it's amazing to see these young players getting the recognition they deserve.
Yeah, it's so cool. And you know what I really love about this is if I go back to this number 1 to 50 thing as well, isn't it just so satisfying? Everywhere you go, Demidov is just consistently ranked as the second best player in this class. How insane is that? You look at the players drafted ahead of him. Cayden Lindstrom is there at number 4. And you go down, Lev Shunov is number 6. And to find Beck at Seneca, you got to go down all the way to number 18. And again, that's nothing against those prospects, but it's what went down on draft night? I get drafted for need, but it's still so insane that Montreal got the steal of the draft here with Demidov. And again, we still got to watch him play. Actually, his little tournament there, his preseason tournament, starts tomorrow, Thursday, August 22nd, maybe today, depending on when you're watching this video. But Thursday, August 22nd, he's captaining that under-23 Russia team at the age of 18. So we're going to be keeping an eye, but I'm super excited. Awesome to see Montreal well represented. We're going to move on to Slaf, though. So we heard that yesterday, a couple days ago, it was officially announced that the Habs were holding Juraj Slafkovsky out of the Olympic qualifiers, and we thought, maybe it's just for his development, maybe it's for this or that, but a tweet from Nicolas Cloutier from TVA Sport said that he's told that it's a precautionary measure that Slaf will not represent Slovakia. Nothing too serious, but Juraj suffering from a slight discomfort in his back. So basically, from what we're reading, and I kind of did some digging on this, it seems like he'd be okay. If the season were to start tomorrow, it's fine. Very much seems like a precaution, Jesse. Back injuries always scare me a little bit, but at the same time, I guess you can't be a pro hockey player without some kind of discomfort at every single moment of your life.
Yeah, it's good that he's taking the time to rest that he needs. Honestly, we're feeling pretty comfortable that Team Slovakia is going to make their way onto this, right? So I think it's, again, he would be ready to go, just kind of taking those precautions. But you have to feel like when it really matters for the regular season and also in that tournament for Slovakia, once they qualify, Slav's going to be ready.
He's going to be ready. And actually, the cool thing about Slav, he's in the middle of like the Europe media tour right now. And he was asked a few questions about Laine. And I think this is going to be a nice transition point. But we're going to start with this, Jesse. I want to bring this up here. Some of the stuff he said. He said, I'm so excited for the season, especially with the Laine trade. During the summer, you're wondering how things are going to be throughout the year, who you're going to play with. He said, and I pretty much can't wait to be there and already play. I wish we could just skip training camp and just start the season because I'm excited to play games that mean something. Finally, he said in 2016, he was a big fan. He was 13 or 14, seeing whether Laine or Matthews would go number one. He said it's good to see him join our team, and hopefully he's excited too. I'm sure he wants to come and restart his career. And Jesse, when you're looking at this, I mean, we haven't heard a whole lot of comments from Montreal Canadiens yet on Laine, but just on this note of Slafkovsky, he seems super hyped. He seems like the kind of guy that would get along super well with Laine, and not just because they both have very memeable pictures of sunglasses like I used in those Slav quotes, and we've all seen that Laine one. It just seems like they're meant to eventually play on a line together if Montreal decides to split up that first line.
Yeah, two big boys that really like to play hockey. And really, the thing about Slav is he feels that Montreal is the perfect place for Laine to be reborn as a player. He really feels that, again, the culture, Marty really being the X factor. And as to the point of them playing together, absolutely, Josh, I want us all to envision this, right? Like the playmaking of Juraj Slafkovsky, the vision, but also how he could whip around those passes so quickly. That's going to be beneficial for Patrik Laine, because the quicker you can get him his pass, the higher that chance that that's going in with that one-timer, right? He has an amazing shot. One thing about Slafkovsky we haven't seen enough yet is what an amazing playmaker that this guy is. This is who he's going to develop into. This is going to be his MO while still crashing the net, getting dirty with it at the same time, right? But I can't wait to see this combination of players together.
I think Slav's big thing is we've seen some crazy no-look passes, some incredible playmaking, but man, and now that he knows how to use his body, his puck retrieval along the boards, like we said throughout the end of the season, he's winning every puck battle, and from that, he's creating high danger chances and one of the best rates in the NHL. So to have that with Laine, my gosh, if you haven't, I don't know who hasn't gotten to watch Laine highlights yet, but if you haven't, please go do it. My gosh, just imagine him with the kind of playmaking Montreal has. It's going to be unreal. But let's just get right into Laine. Why not? Because we got some more stuff to talk about, and this is a bit Laine, but it's a bit as well just Montreal's kind of vision overall. And Arber Basu wrote a fantastic article for The Athletic that is linked down below. As always, please go read it if you have an Athletic subscription. And if you don't, maybe find a way to read it because it's some good stuff. But he went into some stuff here, and I'm going to bring up the picture of the article first. Basically talking about how this Laine move feels very similar. On August 18th, 2022, just 2 years ago, Montreal general manager Kent Hughes was talking about Sean Monahan, bringing in a first-round pick for taking Monahan's contract. And Jesse, it feels very familiar. And when you look through what Montreal has done recently, you start to get a bit of a picture painted for you. I'm going to go through some more quotes. He said, the Habs gave Monahan the runway to prove he had not lost what made him such a promising player and effective scorer. Their circumstances allowed Monahan to leverage that opportunity into a 5-year contract worth $5.5 million a year with the Blue Jackets. But not only that, from a purely hockey perspective, Laine is also a good risk, and the Canadiens know this because they've done this before. In fact, they've done it every offseason in the Gorton Hughes regime, the Hugo regime, whether it was Dach or Newhook or Monahan or Laine or whatever other player it is that teams are undervaluing, is what he said. And I think it goes a step farther from just undervaluing. Players, they have troubles, they have struggles. Everyone's human, and depending where you are, you never know what situation, whether it's 2 guys ahead of you in the depth chart or a bad injury that you couldn't get away from, like Monahan, or some mental things. You never really know. Montreal is becoming that safe haven, that almost oasis where players can come, work with fantastic management, fantastic coaching, fantastic other players to rejuvenate their career. And this, to me, is something that no one else in the NHL is doing right now.
And it's because, as Kent Hughes said, they treat players with respect, with value. They treat them well, but they also hold them accountable as well. And that's the key, that 2 factors. And that's why they're able to get these type of results. As we saw, it worked with Sean Monahan. The beauty, of course, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's following the same sort of trajectory where it's skilled players. Sean Monahan, we know, is a goal scorer in his prime, coming back to that, gets injured. Now coming to Montreal, we're under an environment of Marty, the locker room. You're able to then resurrect your career, which you then proceed to get the bag, right? Which is exactly what Laine wants and all this, like how Monahan ironically just did with the Columbus Blue Jackets, right? So he absolutely deserved it. And you have to feel like Laine has kind of this blueprint that he can kind of follow as well. Just, keeping it simple. But it seems like the room and that leadership group, we kind of forget because Nick Suzuki's young, but he's doing a remarkable job of helping welcome players like Kirby, Dach, obviously Monahan being a vet, but helping to create an environment where they can have success in their time here in Montreal. And absolutely, we see that continuing, and we're really ready to take that next step. As Slav said, he's like, this team, they're ready to kind of move forward. Like fans were expecting it now, right? So they're ready as well to kind of take it to that next level next season.
I think it's cool too that Montreal has so many like veterans, whether they played for the team or not only on the team with guys like Gallagher and Savard who have been through it. Gallagher's been around this team forever. He's a fantastic vet to have, but like, Marty has such a different perspective of the game. Like everyone says, the way he sees the game is different from everyone else. But then you have Vinny Lecavalier in the locker room there. You have Paul Byron, who's in doing stuff all the time. Alex Burrows was coaching the power play. You still have Carey Price coming around from time to time. Like, these guys are invested in the future of the Montreal Canadiens, guys that have either played there or have some kind of connection to Montreal in the past. And I think that just allows players a lot of leeway, a lot more confidence. Like, doesn't it feel great when, like, someone that you respect, you look up to, that has done a lot for the game, gives you that level of respect right back? Even, like, that to me, I think is a huge difference for these players as well.
It does. And also just seeing and believing, because when we talk about Martin St. Louis, he's not that far removed from today's NHL. He gets the game. He knows what it's about. He's got those tree trunks for legs. We know he can still skate. So that really translates to the players. And not only is like his skill, which obviously speaks for himself, but again, why he was hired is just his way of dealing with people. And the fact that he's also a winner, like he's competitive. That whole thing of treating players with respect and knowing that they have a role within the organization, but also what are you going to bring to the collective? It's always this larger mission that's kind of at play. And I feel like that's a huge part of Marty's success.
There's a bunch of big parts, but that's one of the biggest. I would completely agree. Let us know down below. What do you think about Montreal becoming this paradise for players to come rejuvenate their career? We say still yet to be seen with Laine, of course. Still got a lot to see from Kirby Dach. We are so excited. Everything is looking up for this Oregon. I don't know. Every single day, Jesse, I wake up just so happy to be a Habs fan. But leave a comment, leave a like down below if you enjoyed the video, and hit subscribe because we got stuff like this every single day. Thank you so much for all the support. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.